Okay, let's talk about servicing your water inlet valve on your washing machine. This is a very common type of water inlet valve. This is from a Whirlpool washing machine, but this particular type of inlet valve is used on a dozen different washing machine brands. So it is, like I mentioned, it is a serviceable part, and I will put links in the description to purchase new solenoids if the solenoid has gone bad, or a new diaphragm repair kit. So you can buy an entire diaphragm repair kit, which basically comes with this piece, the spring, the rubber diaphragm here, and the plunger, right, or your pin. Then these diaphragms, these solenoids are actually sold separately. And anyway, so I'll put links in the description to everything. So these are your water inlets here for your hose hookups. And you can take a pair of pliers and put it right onto this little tab here. And just give it a quarter turn and then pull it straight out. And so that piece, it's not a threaded piece, so there's no threads on it, right? It literally just kind of sits in there. And you can pull it straight out. It's a little cone basket. And you can clean this basket up real nice. You can see there's a little bit of debris in there. Any type of debris that gets through this basket can actually cause problems with your diaphragm. So there's also a rubber seal in there, and I'll try to find and post a link to that particular rubber seal. You can see it's kind of deformed on the inside. And then, we take apart this piece right here, threads in. So this is threaded in. Okay, and you can take a decent pair of pliers. You can put a little bit of tape around this, like 3M blue painter's tape, or like a little piece of duct tape, and then you can grab it with your pliers and rotate it counterclockwise. You just have to rotate it a little bit, and then you can unscrew it, okay, because that is threaded, right? And then right underneath this guy is where you're going to find your diaphragm sitting in here. That is this piece, so that piece sits right in there. And then inside of this is you'll have the spring, and then your post or your pin. And so that spring sits in here like that, and then the pin goes in here, and it goes in like that, right? So there should be good actuation here, good actuation. And the solenoid is basically an electromagnet, which has two poles on it, and that's what essentially enables the pin to pull to the top and then be released, right? Now, what causes these diaphragms to fail? Two causes. You have little tiny particles that actually make it through the screen, so you can see the little pinholes on the screen. You have little particles that make it through, or you have calcium or mineral buildup. It's usually calcium carbonate. And you can see there's a little pinhole in the diaphragm right in the center there. If that pinhole becomes clogged, or these little slits on the side, these little holes right here on the side, if those become clogged, the pressure on either side of this diaphragm cannot equalize, and then you're not going to get good actuation when it comes to opening and closing. But in this case, what caused my failure, originginally I thought, hey, my failure was due to the solenoid having burned, because I could see, a little burn mark right there in the corner, and some micro fractures and stuff. And I thought, oh yeah, my solenoid is no good. It's failed, right? Turns out, actually, I think the solenoid is probably still good. It's really the diaphragm that actually failed. So you can see, if I get up really close here, you can see that the diaphragm is actually ripped. See the hole right there? See that hole? So it's ripped right there. And there's also a rip right there on that side. See that rip? So this piece failed. Very, very, very similar to the seals that you have in your toilet, in the toilet tank. If you touch this with your fingers, like right when you take it out, if you touch it with your fingers and you see black residue all over your fingers, what that is usually caused by is ammonium chloramine, which is put in by the county. So the county water district in almost every city in the United States is putting ammonium chloramine into the water supply, and they do this to reduce algae and bacteria in the water distribution system. However, and when they do this, they do it in dosages, and sometimes, throughout the year, you will notice kind of a chlorine type smell when you take a shower and stuff like that. You'll smell it, and like your nasal passages and sinuses will maybe potentially swell up for like 1 to 2 hours after you get out of the shower, and you're like, geez, why am I all congested? Why can't I breathe? That's the ammonium chloramine gaseating in your shower, and it causes, all kinds of like respiratory problems. They say, they'll say, oh, it's safe, and, we put in the appropriate amount. But what ammonium chloramine also does is it eats up and destroys the polymers in rubber. So your faucets, your sinks, your showers, all the O-rings, all the rubber washers in your toilets, everywhere, they get destroyed. Ammonium chloramine is a very destructive substance. And I know this just from my own research and my own firsthand experience. The counties and the cities will obviously deny that, and they'll be like, it's fine, like there's no issues, but that they're just full of shit fundamentally. So it's problematic. Now, again, this solenoid, maybe it's only 2 years old. It's 2 years old, and already the diaphragms are failing due to that ammonium chloramine. Then you have your plunger, and the plunger here also has a little piece of rubber on the tip, and that plunger, it kind of sits, in here, and it pushes down on the pinhole in the center, and it seals up that center pinhole to turn the water off. Now, if this piece of rubber right here is also deteriorated or degraded, we're going to have to, replace this plunger pin. And that's where the whole repair kit comes in. So when you buy this whole kit that comes with, again, with this piece, and the spring that's in here, it comes with these pieces plus this. Okay, so it's those 4 pieces. I would recommend doing the whole thing if your plunger has the little rubber tip on it, which it probably, in most of them do. You'll have to replace the whole thing because this rubber will be degraded at essentially the same rate as the diaphragm here. You might be able to get a little bit more life out of this, but they do sell just these diaphragms separately, and they sell them in multi-packs for super cheap. I mean, you can get like a 10 or 20 pack of these for like $10. Okay, so really, really cheap. This kit, if you were to buy this whole kit as one kit, I think it's like usually about $7 to $10 for this whole kit right here, and you would need to buy 3 of them, right? But the cost of this solenoid, it's usually between $100 and $250 for this whole water inlet valve for the whole thing, right? And if you can repair it for say $50, then you're in business, You're in business, and you might even be able to repair it for less than 50. But, how do we take these off, right? So it sits on here like that, and all you have to do is put a screwdriver underneath the metal bracket. So you have these metal brackets here, right? Put a screwdriver underneath the metal bracket and pry up on one side and then the other side. If you have a vehicle panel popper, so a panel popper for a vehicle, that actually works the best because then you can put equal pressure on both the left and the right hand side of this metal bracket underneath, and you can push it up very, very nicely with a vehicle panel popper. I started off using a small flathead screwdriver so that I could get a little bit of clearance under here, and then I came back with a slightly larger one just to pop it off. So you can see it sits pretty close, pretty flush, but you can get a little screwdriver under there to start with, and then it just pops off because there's these little plastic tabs right here. They kind of just grab, you can see, they kind of just grab onto the metal, onto the steel kind of frame right here, the bracket, to hold it in place. But these things just, it pops off pretty easily without any damage. So yeah, that's how you service it. And then, obviously don't forget to change those rubber seals in there as well, because even that one's, it's not looking too good. It's closed off at the end because the rubber has been deteriorating due to the ammonium chloramine.